Well, you know what? Die.
Artemisia.
Artemisia.
Don't bother.
I love that grin, man. Oh, it's so good. I love Mitsuru. Hey, goodbye. Was that a 68 instead of a 69? Are you kidding me right now? What level am I? I'm really hoping... I'm worried that the game isn't designed to make it, like, feasible. I'm really hoping we can get high enough level to fuse my son, aka Thanatos, but we have to get to level 78, I think? I'm level 64 and I'm already over leveled. So I'm starting to think that the game is designed for you to finish the game like around level 70, which is really lame. There's a powerful enemy up ahead, be careful. Which is really lame when the main persona of 3, which is Thanatos. Like, listen, Orpheus is the starting persona, sure, whatever, but like Thanatos is the Persona 3 persona. More than Messiah and Orpheus by far. Like, it's Thanatos. So like putting Thanatos outside of reasonable getting in a playthrough does not sit well with me. We've beaten so many strong shadows. How many has it been so far? However many it is, we can't get careless now. Let's stay focused. Yeah, don't worry, I'm a gamer. This is... I sent someone on a higher floor. It's a floor we haven't been to yet, though. Okay, yeah, there's a missing person. I'm working on it. How did the missing person get past the Cupid and the lion up ahead, though? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Why is the Theurgy almighty if it ignores resistances anyways? Because the element of the Theurgy matters. Because, like, if you use an electric Theurgy, it says it ignores resistances, but it's still, like... It still takes into account if the enemy is weak or not. So making it almighty means that, it has to have an element, and that one happens to be almighty because it doesn't use ice. So it'd be weird if that animation was an ice attack. So the thing that makes the most sense for Mitsuru to be using for an attack there is either physical or almighty. And almighty makes sense with it being debilitate and all. So it has to have an element because all Theurgies have an element because that matters. That one just happens to be almighty. The enemy is strong. Make sure you're ready before fighting. Let's go. Yeah, you tell him, Koromaru. You tell him. Icebreaker, Lion, and Luckless Cupid. Is this some kind of commentary on, like, blind dates or something? What the heck? Mega! Okay, okay. Not the holy arrow!
Try harder.
Yeah, try harder, idiot. Ooh, one of you's weak to lightning! It's that one! Moi Kai?
I won't disappoint you. I'll hit them where it hurts.
Give me a quick Marakunda here, please. I know they can hit weaknesses, but Almighty can't. Yes, but it has to have an element. And by making it Almighty, that ensures that that Theurgy can't hit any weaknesses. Because Almighty, like, nothing is weak to Almighty. So that makes a lot of sense because it's debilitate. It also hitting a weakness would be ridiculous. It has to have an element. They're not just gonna make a Theurgy without an element. That doesn't make any sense. For Mitsuru to have one random Theurgy that is just elementless. I don't think there's anything in the game that is elementless. I mean, I guess buffing moves are, but I mean, they're not elementless. That just, like, their element is that they are a buff.
It have no effect?
That's unfortunate. I was hoping you would be weak to that. You know what? Behold. Knives. Guess there's a theory that suggests Cerberus is actually Koromaru's ultimate persona because he has 2 Theurgies when he joins. He has 2 Theurgies because of the gameplay. I'm pretty sure that they specifically say that Koromaru's persona does not evolve because Koromaru... I don't remember if someone told me this was from like an art book or something, but Koromaru doesn't want his persona to change because it's the persona he had when the priest died, or it's the persona he got after the priest died or something like that. Anyways, Koromaru's persona just doesn't evolve, period. I wish it did, though, personally.
Go! Artemisia!
He just has 2 Theurgies from the start because there's no trigger to give him a second one otherwise. If he didn't have 2 from the start, he'd only ever have 1. Maybe it evolved before he met him? That doesn't really make any sense, narratively, or, like, it just doesn't make sense. Maybe Koromaru, like, climbed to the top of Tartarus before he met him. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any sense. His persona just doesn't evolve.
Here I come! Go back to hell!
Nailed it.
That's a win for the team! Good job, everyone!
To be fair, Koromaru having 2 Theurgies kind of spoiled that the other party members have a second Theurgy. I mean, I wouldn't say spoil.
Great!
The enemy has been defeated. Thanks for your hard work, everyone. If you're feeling up to it, how about exploring a little more? That's the plan.
Yes.
Okay, the stairs that lead to the next floor are right up ahead. I mean, like, Koromaru shows up as a new party member and has 2 Theurgies, so that lets you think, oh, maybe the other characters will get a second Theurgy at some point. It's no different than, like, who's the first one to get a second Theurgy? It's Akihiko, right? When Akihiko's persona evolves, he gets a second Theurgy. Well, that spoils that Mitsuru probably gets a second Theurgy. Like, eventually, because there are more than 1 Theurgy, the characters have more than 1 Theurgy, eventually you're going to get someone with a second one, and that will inform you that every other character should have 2 of them. Koromaru just happens to be the first character that has 2 of them. I don't really think it's a spoiler. And if you've never played Persona 3 before, another thing is that you only know that because you've played Persona 3 before and you know that all the other characters have their personas evolve at some point. If you didn't know that the other characters had their personas evolved, then when Koromaru joins, you might just think like, oh, because he's the dog, he gets 2 Theurgies for some reason? That's interesting. What a unique mechanic for him. Kind of like how Aegis's puts her into Orgia mode, and then Orgia mode lets her, like, do random stuff without your control for 3 turns. The only reason you know that it gives 2 Theurgies is because you played the game before, and there's like, I mean, what are they supposed to... You have spoiled yourself by having already played the original game. You just know how the game works, because you've already experienced it once. Reduce slash damage, huh? I'd rather keep Endure, to be honest. You have the Fiery Vest, Ice Evasion Medium. I don't think Ice Evasion Medium is worth 100 defense, if I'm being honest. I just don't think it is. So anyways, Koromaru having 2 Theurgies being a spoiler that the other characters get a second Theurgy doesn't really make any sense to me. It just doesn't add up. I do wish the Koromaru's persona evolved. Cerberus is really cool, but he could have had an even cooler second one. He could have had Giga Cerberus. Bum, bum, bum.
Welcome to the Velvet
Hello,
Room.
the moon grows full, I know. Why did I come back here? I guess to fuse stuff?
Will you register it to the compendium? I've completed
Thank you.
registration. Now then.
Well then.
I'm level 65. I have 4 levels to go before we can fuse Loki. Succubus and Raphael for Garuda? Sure.
This persona is powerful. What do you wish to inherit?
Tempest Slash and Meteorama, I guess.
It will receive a lot.
It's finally time.
Skip. Yeah, that's a really good way to say it. Figuring it out is different from it being a spoiler. Seeing that Koromaru has 2 Theurgies and then figuring out, oh, I bet the other party members get a second Theurgy at some point in the game, Even if you haven't played, like, if you played the original, then you're like, I bet they get it when their personas evolve. But even if you play it, like, for the first time, you're like, oh, I wonder if the other characters, what on earth is this word?
You can't control
Kishian
this one.
Dasheng? Is that, Satan Taisei? Is that Ryuji's evolved persona? What the heck?
Very
If you see that, and then you're like, oh, I bet the others will get a second Theurgy at some point, that's not a spoiler. That's just you guessing and being right. All right. And again, honestly, if I was playing Reload and I had never played another Persona game, if this was my first time playing a Persona game and I didn't know that party member personas evolving was a thing, I probably would have just assumed that Koromaru gets to have 2 Theurgies because he's special. Just like Aegis gets to go into like butterfly or Gia mode after using her Theurgy because she's special. Special words. It's so dark.
Oh no.
The visibility here is poor. I can manage to see you all, but at least yeah, I know.
Great.
I'm gonna fight this rare enemy because, like, I know that we're over-leveled, but I feel like at this point of the game, there's no helping that. To not be over-leveled for the end of the game, we would literally just have to, like, stop fighting anything and just run through Tartarus as fast as possible without ever touching any enemies. Okay, this is interesting.
This will do the trick.
You're cheating? I should have used Maracunda. Do I have to hit you with Almighty? I wonder if it'll let me do this. I bet it won't. Persona! Nope.
Could I stand on this enemy?
Yes.
Analysis complete.
It does just absorb. Okay, so you cannot kill this enemy without Almighty. I wish I still had Virus Breath. Outside of a Theurgy, I can't do anything here. Theurgy and Almighty.
What to do?
I have Megidola. How much does Megidola do? Okay, 2 Megidolas would kill. I think it's gonna run away before I get another turn with Minato, but now I know. Yeah. Literally, there's just nothing you can do there unless you know.
That was a good workout.
Was it? Was it really? Twilight Fragment. Box. Anyways, as I was saying, to not be over-leveled at this point, we would just have to stop playing the game, basically, until the final boss, more or less. Pistol Mother. Yeah, I can see, like, these enemies are, like, level 60, but I'm level 65. So, rather than, like, not playing the game for the last, like, 10 hours of the game, I would rather just keep being over-leveled and try to focus on getting enough experience to be able to fuse my son for funsies. This is another thing that Persona 5 Royal does better, that, again, is why... I just keep thinking of that one person who asked, like, has Reload made you change your mind? Like, do you think Reload is better than Royal? Like, do you like 3 more than 5 now? And I think of moments like these. In Persona 5 Royal, the difficulty, like, the game is designed where at least if you do the 3rd semester, you're scaled to hit level 90 to 99 by the end of your playthrough. This is actually really good timing for this. I'm glad we didn't take it earlier. I need the SP.
Crushing victory.
But when you get to the end of Persona 5 Royal, assuming you're playing on, like, at least hard, the game actually scales itself pretty well. At least from what I remember. I don't think the Persona 5 Royal was like... Oh, hey, it's the clock. I'm not trying to say that Persona 5 Royal was, like, really difficult or anything, because I don't think it was really, like, from what I remember, it wasn't, like, really difficult. But also, I mean, we could get in a whole other conversation about how I think difficulty in turn-based games is kind of stupid in the first place. If I want a game with, like, more difficulty and challenge to it... I'm sensing another Gatekeeper. It's still quite a ways off, though. If I want a game with more, like, difficulty and challenge to it, I would be playing, like, a real-time action game like Tales of or Final Fantasy. turn-based games, when turn-based games get like more difficult in my experience, it basically comes down to, hey, you have to spam guard a lot more, and also you have to spam stat ups like a bunch. And to me, that's not like, I mean, by the strictest definition, that is more difficult, but I also find it way less fun. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
There will always be an opening to strike. Let's take it down. Let's go. How do you feel about Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door? Never touched it. I've never played it, and thus I have no opinion. But anyways, as I was saying, I don't really need a turn-based game to be, like, super difficult, because normally when they're super difficult, they're more annoying than anything to me.
This will do the trick.
However,
Judgment is here.
ever since I hit that over-leveled point in Reload, which I still feel like is Reload's fault, by the way, I don't think I went out of my way to get over-leveled. I think that the game was not level-balanced very effectively.
What to do?
But I definitely have felt like, man, Reload has gotten a little brain-dead combat-wise. And again, I'm not trying to say that Persona 5 or Persona 4 even are like, oh, they're so much better. As if, like, their combat is so much more, like, in-depth or anything like that. Because, again, Persona 5 Royal is not, like, a hard game, in my opinion. I also don't think many turn-based games are hard. Probably the hardest turn-based game I played is SMT5. But SMT5 being difficult was mostly, again, the difficulty in that was annoyance. Because for SMT5 to be difficult, they made it where when you miss an attack, you actually miss 2 attacks, and then the enemy happens to attack your main character twice and you get a game over, which to me is, again, by the strictest definition, I guess that is more difficult, but if anything, it's more annoying. And I don't really play video games to, like, be annoyed. If I run into something difficult in a video game and I have to, like, try a couple of times to win or something, like the Kingdom Hearts data battles or whatnot, then I'm like, okay, this is a good, like, enjoyable frustration. When I run into something like in Persona where it's like, hey, look at this boss. They can one-shot the protagonist to make you load your save data. I'm like, okay, well, that's not, like, hard or fun. That's just annoying. I got a ruinous rotary leg. Also, Seth is 1 level away from perfection. Repel ice, Pog? I was about to say we never used Tetrakarn, but I literally used Tetrakarn earlier, but I'm still gonna disrespect Tetrakarn.
Oh, hello.
Give.